Are you uncomfortable talking in front of the camera? Well, I was, and I still have trouble getting started with it, but I have a few tips for you. If you noticed at the beginning, my arm was rested here. So you can have yourself in kind of a natural position. If you want to be at rest, it will naturally put you at rest because your body and mind do work together. Also, I want you to think back. Have you ever spoken publicly before? Have you ever written a script before that's been read? At any point in your life? I had, and I've done 41 of these videos on YouTube now. This is really a political channel, but not today. And I'm going to tell you, there were 2 times where I have spoken publicly before I ever recorded in front of a lens, in front of the camera. And they were at my parents' funerals. So I went up there and I had the speech written out and I spoke to the crowd and looked that way and that way as I was speaking, but also mainly at what I had written down. And that's another thing you can do on camera, is you can have notes. I have notes here. There's nothing wrong in a YouTube video with using your notes. It's perfectly legitimate. You know, you're not using a teleprompter. I certainly would never use a teleprompter. And you don't have to memorize it. Just some bullet points, something you can glance over at, and it just adds another level of comfort when you're delivering your message, your story. And it's good to have a story that makes people like you more interested in what I have to say, because it's like we're having a conversation and you're learning my story. So is there anything else you can do to get the willies out when you're in front of the camera? Well, let me glance over at my notes here. You can start again. This is really important to understand. Even though you're talking to the camera, and even though I'm even hesitating now, if I wanted to, I could just walk, press not recording anymore, come back, press record again, and start again. There is no pressure unless you give it to yourself, because you can do this 10 times in a row. And believe me, I've done this at least 8 times in a row one time, and stopping, starting, and by the time you get to the 8th take, or maybe the 2nd take, or maybe you don't even need a 2nd take and it's your 1st take, and you can just run through your script or what you have in your head that you want to convey, your message, your story, what you want to tell the, your audience, really the person you're talking to. And think of one person on YouTube, because that's the person watching you, is that you can start again. There is nothing set in stone. And later on, you can edit things out. So if you mess up, it's fine. You can just pause and then continue. And you can edit that pause out if you want to. I do it for every video, the editing. And one last thing. The lens is kind of strange when you're talking to the camera. Now I'm talking to the back of this camera. And I'm looking at the lens, but literally once I get into the flow of it, of what I want to say, especially if I scripted it out and I've run through it a number of times in my mind, This one I had it, I just wanted to do this one. So I'm thinking a little bit more of it, is that I don't even really see the camera. I'm kind of looking, I know it's there, but I don't see the camera. I don't see the person behind the camera. And my son right now is actually behind the camera, but I start to see no one. I literally, it almost in my mind vanishes, which may sound strange because literally the camera is less than 3 feet away from me. But I get into a flow and I'm talking to you, my friend, and trying to help you out with how to talk to a camera. So those are my tips. Use them for what they're worth to you, and I'll see you next time on the political channel here. History happens every day. But for now, you can also get comfortable talking in front of the camera. See you next time.